Hello YouTube, it's Tom, and today I'm finally going to give you that video that I promised you ages ago about coming out. I'm sorry I didn't post this earlier, but I was sick and I had a cold and stuff was going on, so I'm giving it to you now. Coming out is probably the scariest, or at least one of the scariest things in your transition. Because, you have to tell basically everyone, starting with your family, your close friends, your acquaintances, eventually probably even at school or at work. Because if you want to do a transition and you take hormones and do surgeries, people are going to notice changes, and you better inform them of what's going to happen beforehand, because otherwise things might get really strange. Yeah, sometimes it's very hard because you never know how people are going to react. There is a risk of people not accepting it, of you losing people that you thought were friends. There's always that risk, especially with your family. It's very important that you have a family that supports you, but not everyone has that, I'm afraid. So in this video, I'm going to focus on some tips on how to come out, some ways to do it, that worked for me, that worked for some people that I know. I'm probably going to make another video about a personal coming out story sometime. But yeah, this video is going to be just general information. So, coming out, before you come out, there is one really important thing that you should know. You should know whether it is safe to come out. Because there are situations where it's unsafe. For example, you have a family that is rather conservative or religious or both, and you're still in school and you live at home and you're basically stuck there. You don't have anywhere else to go. Then it's probably not a good idea to come out at this point. Once you come out, you need to make sure, what if the worst case scenario happens? What if your parents completely freak out and throw you out of their house? Do you have a place to go to? Do you have people where you can stay or that can help you? It's really important to know that. Even though I really hope that your family is not going to react in that way, very often you don't know how people are going to react. And sometimes you think that they might react positively and then the opposite happens. So you should be sure that you have people to turn to, you have a place to stay, you have, a safe space to go to if things go wrong. That's the first and most important thing. And if you have that, it's time to come out. Yeah, how do you do it? There are different ways to come out to people. You can either talk to them in person, write them a letter, write them an email, come out via Facebook or social media. You can give them a phone call, whichever works best for you. And I think it also depends on the person. With some people, it's probably better to talk to them in person. With some people, it's better to write a letter. Both talking in person and writing have good and bad sides. When you talk to people in person, they can ask you questions and you can really start talking about it and you see their immediate reaction, which sometimes can be good because you see their body language, you see how they look at you, you see how they react. On the other hand, writing a letter is sometimes easier because you can think about it beforehand, you can compose the letter so you don't forget anything important, because sometimes when you talk to people in person, you get really nervous because, it's a scary situation and you might leave something out that was really important. So sometimes it's better to write a letter. I did both. I came out to my closest family in person, and then most of my friends got letters or emails, because I have a lot of friends that don't live nearby, so I came out via email, came out via private message on Facebook. I had like 3 different letters pre-composed, kind of. One that was very detailed that my closer friends got. One that was, not as detailed that my better acquaintances got, some people that I see regularly. And then there was one with just the basic information, like, I'm trans, I changed my name, I use these pronouns now. And that's what everyone else got that was kind of acquainted with me, that was going to see me in the future, and that just had to be informed that I was going by a different name and different pronouns. So I had these 3 different letters. My friends got a very personal one with some details on how I came to this conclusion that I was trans, some stuff that had happened in the past, some feelings that I had about this, some hopes that I had. Yeah, also some details on how I was going to go about this, with hormone therapy and surgeries and stuff. You don't have to put that in if you don't know yet what you're going to do. Yeah, and another tip, especially with your family, if you're not sure how they are going to react, sometimes it's better to not throw the whole piece of information right into their face. Like, be like, I'm a trans guy, and I go by Tom now, and I use male pronouns, and I'm gonna have surgeries, and you better accept that now. Probably not gonna work well. What I did, personally, I was, like, more vague about it. Even though I knew what I wanted, but I knew that I couldn't throw it right into their faces. So I was more like, I'm questioning my gender identity because I have some issues with my body and I have some issues with my gender because I don't really feel female. And that's why I want to start therapy to figure things out. And it would be really great if you would help me out with this and I could talk to you about it and we could maybe get some information together. There are some videos we can watch. There is some stuff that we can read about it, and I really need your help with this. So kind of include them in the process, because then very often it's easier for them to take it. Don't be too disappointed if they don't react perfectly that very first second when you come out, because no one does. During the first time after you came out, you might be facing some trouble with people, Your family is probably not going to go like this and call you by your new name tomorrow. Probably going to take months. With some people it takes years. Some people hear stuff like, you'll always be my girl, you'll never be a boy. Things like that, Try not to get too depressed and don't give up, because a lot of people, especially families, parents, do come around with time. They just need to learn. They need to get educated about the topic because, they're hurt. They had this illusion of you being a girl and becoming a woman and marrying and having 2.1 kids or something and living somewhere in the suburbs, and that all just burst into flames once you come out and tell them that you're a guy. They're going to have to get used to it because a lot of parents feel like they're losing someone, like they're losing a child, which of course is bullshit, but they still feel like that. It's important to educate them, to show them videos, to give them like books to read or articles or like brochures and stuff like that. Because once they understand what's going on, the complexity of gender and what it's really about, most people do change their minds and most people get more open-minded. That's just my experience. My parents were really, really taken aback by the fact that I was trans. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what was going to happen. And once I really started educating them and giving them information, over time, they really started learning about it and accepting it. I'm really, really glad that I came out to people. I was in the closet for a long time before coming out, and it was kind of freeing. And I feel like even if some people don't react in a good way, it's still better because they know. And now you know who will accept it and who won't. And you know who your true friends are and the ones who aren't. And if you're going to lose people over this, be sure that they weren't worth it anyway, because this is you, You are like this. You are trans. You can't change that. If they can't live with it, they can't be your friends, Even if you had some great times with them, if they can't live with that, they can't live with this part of you. And that's a really important, integral part of you that they can't accept. So as hard as it might be, it's probably better to let go of these people. And I can promise you, for everyone that will leave you because of this, you will find at least 2 or 3 people that you're going to meet in the future that are going to accept you for who you are and love you for who you are. So don't feel too bad about it. Yeah, I guess those are the most important things that I have to say about coming out. I'm going to post another video about my personal coming out story, how I came out to my parents and my friends and how they reacted. If you have questions or if I didn't cover everything that you were interested in, you can leave me a comment down below or write me an email to tomhenrikftm@gmail.com. You can also do that if you just want to talk or ask a question or whatever. If you have some ideas for videos, just let me know. I'll see you soon, and I'll try to update more regularly. I promise. I'll try, because I have this other German channel as well. So, yeah, I have a lot of stuff to produce and upload. But I'm going to do this, I promise. I promise I'm going to do it. So stay tuned for more trans stuff coming up. Until then, all the best to you, and bye.